going on, y'all? What is going on with this layout? Let's get this right. Okay. Yo, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to another edition of Gen Sports Corner back at you for St. Patty's Day. I got the little theme going, so, you know, hope you guys are enjoying your day so far. About to get into some Guinness real quick and talk about a little bit of boxing as well as the Philadelphia 76ers and what they did the other night. So let's get right into it. But before I start, first I want to give a moment of silence to the late great Marvin Hagler. Marvelous as he was in the ring and outside as well. So let's give him a moment of silence here. That's a moment of silence for the late great marvelous Marvin Hagler. Passed away this past Saturday, officially of natural causes. We don't know if it was related to COVID or not, but I'm going to leave that for another episode. But just want to talk about his career briefly and what meant to boxing. This episode is mainly going to be about boxing, by the way, for those of you guys that are into boxing. Marvin Hagler, one of the best middleweights of all time, got the belt, became the undisputed middleweight champion in 1980, and really didn't look back for another 7 years. Just running through the division. He was the boogeyman. Joe Frazier told him that you had three strikes against you. You're black and you're just a monster. And, look, he went in there and he earned everything he got, man. He earned everything he got. Um, Obviously, the big fight with Tommy Hearns, I believe in 1983, was it? Oh, no, that might have been with Duran, but he had the big fight with Tommy Hearns, one of the fights of the century. Only lasted 3 rounds, but it was fireworks the whole way through. Had the really big, impactful knockout, and he just had so many bright moments. And he was a he was a great ambassador for the sport, both inside and outside of the ring. And this was one of those losses that really hit me hard. I was a huge fan of his. I'm a huge fan of a lot of those boxers. Like Sugar Ray Leonard's one of my favorite fighters, and even though Sugar Ray's one of my favorite fighters, seeing his fight against Marvin Hagler made me a Hagler fan because that fight in particular, every time you watch it, the score gets a little closer and a little closer, even though it officially went to Sugar Ray Leonard. One week I feel like Leonard won it, and then one week I feel like Hagler won it. And he's just an exceptional fighter, and he will be sorely missed. Um, but that being said, let's talk about boxing on a little bit of a brighter note. The fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury has officially been agreed upon. We are finally here. We're at the point where we can unify all four belts, the WBO, WBA, WBC, which Fury has, and then the IBF title. How about that, man? Boxing, making waves, doing what they're supposed to, having the best fight the best at their best for all the marbles. What more can you ask for? We've had a couple good fights this year, and to brighten up 2021 than to have these two fighting it out for everything on the line. And we, as you well know, Tyson Fury coming off his previous big time dominant victory over Deontay Wilder, and then Anthony Joshua defending his belts against Kubrat Pulev. Went in there, did exactly what he was supposed to. Looked very good, boxed well. Looked like he bounced back from the Ruiz fight, which he avenged. So I'm excited to see this fight, man. And I just can't wait until this comes up so I can make my video series leading up to the fight. You know how they have 24/7 for Showtime. That's what I'm gonna have for this fight. It's gonna be huge, man. It's for all the belts. Tyson Fury and Wilder was huge, but this is for all four belts. We haven't had an undisputed heavyweight champ in a long time. Maybe since what? Lennox Lewis? Was he the last undisputed heavyweight champ? I'm not even sure Klitschko was undisputed. He might have been. I can't remember because I feel like both brothers had the belt split between the two. But to have an undisputed heavyweight champ, that's what boxing is all about to me, in my opinion, right? You think about undisputed heavyweight champs, the first name that comes to mind is Muhammad Ali, right? So they have a chance to put themselves in that category of guys that have achieved greatness. So we're going to see, but it got signed. They have a 2-fight deal, one to take place this year, and then one to take place as soon as 4 months after for the rematch. So that's huge. We have another fight that just took place between Oscar Valdez and Miguel Berchelt. If you haven't seen the fight, go look up the highlights. Devastating stoppage. People did not think that Oscar Valdez was going to go in there and be able to beat Berchelt, a big, strong 130 pounder. And he came in, not only hurt him and wobbled him, but was able to stop him in emphatic fashion. And that was might be knockout of the year, might be knockout of the year, right? So that was a big one. Briefly to MMA, Stylebender lost his fight when he tried to move up to heavyweight. Wasn't big enough. Our Polish brother was able to win that fight, and he, props to both fighters for doing what was asked of them. Stylebender tried to step up and win a belt at another weight division. It was one weight division too far. It is what it is. So uh, that's what's been happening with boxing and MMA. And like I said, I'll go more into depth with the Fury and um, and Joshua matchup as we move forward. But one thing to mention is um, regardless of who wins the fight, they're going to have the rematch. So pretty much you have mandatory defense obligation. So whenever you win a fight, you have to defend that belt or give it up. So the mandatory for Anthony Joshua is Alexander Usyk for the WBO, and that's a big fight. Regardless of what happens in this fight, that's a big fight because Usyk, the guy's a problem. Lomachenko's a problem. These Eastern Bloc fighters are problems. Um, it started with Triple G, then you have Lomachenko, and you have Bivol at 175, and then you have Usyk, who just jumped up to heavyweight about a year ago, and he is the mandatory challenger for Joshua. And that's both the Fury fight and then the Usyk fight are both going to be huge challenges for Joshua. So he has a big year ahead of him. Um, And then for Tyson Fury, the mandatory for him would be the winner of the Alexander Povetkin and Dillian White rematch. And that fight was last year. That was a really big fight, a huge knockout. The uppercut heard around the world. I mean, we all thought Dillian White was going to win that fight, and then all of a sudden, Povetkin just loads up and comes back with an uppercut, looking like Ken from Street Fighter. Amazing fight, amazing finish, and they're having a rematch, and the winner of that would be fighting Tyson Fury. So, a lot of interesting scenarios. I'll go, like I said, I'll go more into detail in the future videos, but I just wanted to hit you guys with that information. And then lastly, um, I wanted to talk about the Sixers. Phillies are going to be coming up in April. They're finishing up spring training, so there's not too much to say on them. But between the Sixers and the Flyers, I really liked what both of these teams did this past week. So the Flyers on Monday night, Flyers had a huge win over the New York Rangers, and we looked very spotty. Went up 2-0 the first period. Looked like we came out good on offense. Looked sharp. Looked crisp. Then the second period, we used to give up 3 straight goals. Boom, 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 back to back to back. Poor defense, lackadaisical with the passes, really bad turnovers. You can't blame Carter Hart when you turn over the puck and allow a breakaway the other way, especially 2-on-1s. That is not the goalie's fault. I don't care who you have minding the net. You're going to give up goals. You cannot make those silly mistakes. They're not good. You can't be successful, and you for darn sure you're going to be a playoff team if you make those mistakes. So went down 3-2, and then in the third period we're able to come back, right, and tie it up. We're able to tie it up 4-4, right, and then in overtime we're fortunate enough to get it to overtime, right, and then in overtime The Rangers, they're playing keep away, very boring, can almost put you to sleep. The way they're holding puck, playing keep away, they're doing that in the 3-on-3. I think the 3-on-3 to try to tire you out, keep your players on the ice longer on their shifts than they should be, and it almost worked for them. But unfortunately for them, they committed a really silly turnover in their own zone. Jacob Voracek, who had been out there for about a minute 40 on his shift, he was just dead, legs gone, completely gassed. Somehow finds it in himself to go intercept the pass, um, get a breakaway 1-on-1 with the goalie. Deke's right, and then Deke's back left, and had the goalie on skates, both figuratively and literally. Had him on skates, and just guided the puck in after that. It was and you could just tell he was ready to fall out after that game-winning goal, the walk-off goal. Jake Voracek, Mr. Clutch, man. Listen, in my opinion, I think the goalie felt that Voracek was so tired there was no way in hell he would be able to even have the energy to deke back left. So the goalie overcommitted to his deke to the right, and then he brought it back to the left, and he was like, "Oh crap, it's over, right?" So that was huge, man. Voracek, clutch as hell, man. Him and Giroux were clutch with the assist and the goals. Voracek had a clutch assist on a power play goal to Giroux to tie it up 4-4 in the third period. Just a thing of beauty. Prescripted play. It just looked like backyard hockey, man. Like they were clutch, man. I love how they came up and made up for their mistakes. But make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. They are going to be on the phone before the trade deadline trying to get a defenseman because they look bad out there, man, on defense. Not the offense is there, but they are the equivalent of the Phillies lacking a bullpen arm. That's what it is. They have great offense. They can put up runs, put up goals, right? I'm comparing the two. It's oranges to tangerines, right? I mean oranges to clementines. And they can put up points, put up goals, but they cannot stop a nosebleed when it comes to maintaining a lead. So they're going to have to be on that phone trying to get a defenseman because Sanheim, he's good at times, but he makes mistakes. At times he looks like a spectacular defenseman, and then at times he's sliding into the wall, unabated, like nobody forced him into the wall, and he's like wiping out. It's like you can't have that. You can't have the silly unforced turnovers. So that's that. Hopefully they stay on track because they're right in position to be maybe the 2 seed in their division, or maybe even a 2 seed in the East. So they need to keep this momentum up. And then lastly, the Sixers had a game last night. Embiid's hurt. Fortunately, he had no significant structural damage in that knee, no tears of any ligaments. Um, in all likelihood, just a very, very bad bone bruise. So he should be out for 2 to 3 weeks, but that is a relief that he will be back for the playoff run. And what's more of a relief is seeing how this Sixers team is playing in his absence. They're not only beating teams, they're smacking teams. So they really beat down the San Antonio Spurs. I believe that was Saturday night. Saturday night, I think. Beat them down. The score was not even as close as what it looked um, after 4 quarters. I mean, we won by like 28 to 30 points. We really could have won by 50 if we didn't take our foot off the gas and put the backups in early in the fourth quarter. But they just ran all over them. And then last night, we had a very gritty win against the Knicks. The Knicks, who are actually underrated, they're surprisingly good this year. Not a great team, but they're flying under the radar. Do not count out the Knicks as a seventh or eighth seed. And nobody thought we'd be saying this, but RJ Barrett and the boys over there, they're not bad. They're not bad at all. And this was a very tight game, a highly contested game going into the fourth quarter. We were down uh, by 5 to 6 points, and we were having issues closing that gap in the third quarter, but we eventually did. And when they had when they needed offense, it was very encouraging to me that they looked at number 12 and said, "Yo, Tobias, take over." And he said, "No problem. I'm an all-star. An all-star. I'm not. I'm trying to keep down the curse words, but that's what he said, man." And he showed improved. He went out there. They had him matched up on a lot of guards. They were switching a lot, so he would be matched up on smaller guards, whether it was RJ Barrett. Didn't matter. The point is, when we were getting these switches and they had a guard on Tobias, we were feeding the ball to Tobias and saying, "Look, go ahead, work." And he was just backing these dudes down, getting to his spots, hitting his shots, and talking his stuff. And I love to see that, man. And he has taken it personally. He has taken it personally that he was snubbed from that All-Star game. Every team he plays, whoever didn't vote for him, they on the hit list. And he's going out there and showing that he got that dog in him, man. That dog. He's going out there hitting shots. He was 3 for 3 in the game. Just starting off from three. And he carried us with those 30 points last night. And I love this team and what they've been able to do. And then defensively, they've been stingy. And Dwight Howard is one of the most underrated pickups we've had in a long time. He had a brutal, and I mean brutal, block on Julius Randle in that game. It might have been the third quarter. I don't remember what quarter it was, but he had a brutal block on Julius Randle. Sent his ass down through the basement. Like it looked like he hurt his soul when he blocked the ball. And he looked tentative from that point on for the rest of the game. He looked very timid. And Julius Randle wasn't. So that's a guy that Toby got snubbed for. So Toby showed up and showed out against a team who had an all-star at his position, and he got snuffed by Dwight Howard. So Sixers went out there and sent a message. Tobias sent a message, and the Sixers sent a message. And I just love what they're doing. They're keeping up the pace, keeping up the intensity because the Nets are right there knocking on the door, and then the Bucks are the number 3 seed. We are playing the Bucks next, so that's going to be a big one. It's a big test with Embiid out. We're going to see how deep the Sixers team is going against these Bucks. I'm looking forward to it. But that being said, that's all I have for today. We are at the start of NFL free agency. There have been a lot of big moves. As you know, the Patriots have spent a boatload of money to try to fix up their team. They signed Hunter Henry at tight end to add weapons to get around Cam Newton. They signed our boy Nelson Aguilar. 2 years, $30 million. So, hey, for all you guys that wanted to say this, that, and the third about Aguilar, I'll tell you this much. Ever since he left Philly, he had a great year with my Raiders, and now he is over with the Bill Belichick's up in New England on a 2-year, $30 million deal. And, yeah, hey, it's going to be very interesting to see how they change their fortunes this year. It really is. The Eagles don't have much cap space to do much of anything. They're trying to get under the cap, which is going to be a task. They will, but I will have more news on the Eagles when it comes to who they get rid of and what moves they make to get under the cap. The Eagles have restructured a lot of deals. They restructured Darius Slay's deal. They restructured, I think, Lane Johnson's deal. And I wouldn't be surprised if they restructured Brandon Brooks. And Zach Ertz got permission to look for trade partners as well. So Zach Ertz is probably going to be gone. So I'll have more of an update once I see what moves that they're going to make. But because some heads are going to roll, but not as many as you think are going to roll, is what I'm saying. But a lot of restructured deals, though, for sure. They're going to have to kick the proverbial can down the road again to try to get under this cap. So we'll see what moves they make. But I know this much. Howie Roseman is on the hot seat, and Nick Sirianni is not in a great spot as a first-year coach. So we're going to see how they work. Is it going to be synergistic? Are they going to work synergistically well together, or are they going to be two Rams opposing each other in a way that's not going to work out well for the team? We will see. That being said, that's all for this podcast. More music to come. Make sure you check out Dark Days. That's a new single that I just dropped recently. Also, sure you check out Stevie Franks and Michael Fires' new album just dropped. Make sure you go check that out. Always fire with them. Um, but that's it. Enjoy your St. Patty's Day. Step into a Guinness. I'm about to make Irish car bomb, so and enjoy my night. Watch a little bit of boxing because I missed some of the fights. But that's it. Till next time, people. Peace.